She's the biggest draw.
It is undeniable that Caitlin Clark is the engine.
Caitlin Clark effect. There has been so much of an influx in attendance, in jersey sales, and viewership, all the things.
That's about star power, narrative, and likability.
Caitlin Clark comes into the WNBA, goes through college. She has panache. She has style.
She's my role model. I really look up to her.
Why do you like Caitlin?
And she's so good at basketball.
She's the biggest name in basketball right now, undeniably the engine driving a seismic shift in the WNBA. We're talking, of course, about Caitlin Clark. The Caitlin Clark effect isn't just hype, it's a verifiable force, sparking an unprecedented surge in attendance, jersey sales, and most significantly, viewership. It's a phenomenon built on star power, a compelling narrative, and undeniable likability. Clark arrived in the WNBA after a storied college career, bringing with her a certain panache, a style that resonates deeply. Young fans call her their role model, captivated not just by her skill, but by her presence.
2.2 million average viewers
tuned in to watch Caitlin Clark and the Fever take on the Liberty.
Peaking at 3.2 million viewers is crazy for the WNBA, even for the Fever.
Became the 6th most watched WNBA regular season or playoff game.
And the numbers don't just prove it, they shout it from the rooftops. Time and time again, Caitlin Clark is rewriting the record books for the league. Like clockwork, she pulls in viewership numbers the WNBA has simply never seen before, making it increasingly difficult for anyone, the league or certain prominent figures like Angel Reese, to ignore or downplay her impact. The latest proof? A staggering 2.2 million average viewers tuned in to watch Clark and the Fever take on the Liberty, peaking at an almost unbelievable 3.2 million. Think about that. A WNBA game peaking at over 3 million viewers. That's not just good. For this league, it's revolutionary. This game became the 6th most watched WNBA regular season or playoff game ever.
It is the highest peak of any game. It is the second highest viewership. Caitlin Clark has picked up an injury after breaking records with both her games on like proper national TV. That would be absolutely ideal. If Caitlin shows up, there's going to be records.
While it might seem like some forces behind the scenes are scrambling to brush her impact under the rug, the data is brutally honest. Clark is racking up record viewership as if it's just part of her pre-game warm-up. And critically, when she's not on the court, the league doesn't just see a small dip in interest. It nosedives. Her presence creates the highest peaks in viewership. Her absence creates echoing silence. There was even speculation that a minor injury for Clark, forcing her off national TV briefly after setting records, would somehow be absolutely ideal for others. It reveals a strange undercurrent, because when Caitlin plays, records are expected.
It's more statistical proof, data, to confirm exactly what we've been saying, that Caitlin Clark is driving this whole ship. Clark is such an overwhelming draw that ticket prices have fallen more than 300% in less than 2 days.
But what happens when she's sidelined? We're talking echoing silence in the stands, tanking ticket sales, and a league-wide panic attack. This is more statistical proof, more data confirming exactly what many have been saying. Caitlin Clark is driving this entire ship. Clark is such an overwhelming draw that in one instance, ticket prices reportedly plummeted more than 300% in less than 2 days after her status changed. So the question looms large and demanding an answer. Why does the WNBA keep allowing their literal season saver to get bumped, bruised, and bullied on the court? If you're riding the Caitlin Clark wave and understand the sheer magnitude of her impact, drop CC Record Breaker in the comments, and let's highlight the truth they seem to want you to ignore.
WNBA game between the Fever and the Liberty, peaking at 3.2 million viewers. And again, second most viewed game on CBS. This is a crazy situation.
Let's deep dive into the numbers the WNBA might prefer weren't so widely circulated. Just days ago, the face-off between Caitlin Clark's Fever and the New York Liberty commanded a massive 2.22 million average viewers on CBS, soaring to a ridiculous peak of 3.2 million. This wasn't just a decent turnout, it was historic. It stood as the second most viewed WNBA game ever broadcast on CBS, and the 6th highest in combined regular or postseason viewership since 2001. All generated by a player still navigating the early stages of her professional career. She's not merely making history, she's effortlessly dominating it. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player. She is the needle mover. She is the franchise player. the main draw.
Caitlin Clark is the needle mover.
She is the needle mover.
She is the franchise player.
And she was the MVP. She is the main draw.
She wasn't the one who was full sprinting down the court.
And here's where the comparison becomes stark. The same Fever versus Liberty game played last year pulled in 1.86 million viewers with a peak around 2.64 million. Even then, Clark drew attention. But this year, a remarkable 500,000 viewer boost on average, thanks almost entirely to Clark's unstoppable rise. Same matchup, same time slot, same network, yet we saw an increase of roughly 400,000 average viewers and 600,000 peak viewers year over year. For the WNBA, that's undeniably a massive win.
Liberty versus the Fever last year on CBS did 1.86 million viewers year over year. Same matchup, same time slot, same network. We saw an increase of around 400,000 viewers on the average and an increase of around 600,000 viewers on the peak. If I'm the WNBA, that's a win.
But let's introduce a crucial contrast. The Liberty versus Aces season opener, stacked with bona fide league royalty like Aja Wilson and Brianna Stewart, managed to draw 1.3 million viewers. Respectable, yes, but nowhere near Clark's pull. Just a few days later, Clark stepped onto the court, and boom, another million viewers appeared. It makes you wonder if Angel Reese, hearing these numbers, might have been somewhere side-eyeing the screen, perhaps thinking, but what about my double-double? The Caitlin Clark effect has demonstrably been a net positive, elevating the entire league and boosting the visibility of all its teams.
The Caitlin Clark effect has been a net positive for the WNBA and all of its teams. Clark entered the season as a betting favorite to win the 2025 WNBA MVP. She was the lead.
Clark entered the season as a betting favorite for the 2025 MVP, the designated lead. She doesn't rely on manufactured drama, staged rivalries, or cryptic social media posts. All she needs is a basketball and a court. She is the headline, the primary needle mover, the walking, talking ratings boost. And she delivers across every platform she appears on, from CBS and ABC to Amazon Prime and NBA TV. No matter the channel, when Caitlin shows up, records are likely to follow. And yet, we still hear complaints about her team, the Indiana Fever, receiving too much coverage. Here's a simple, wild idea. Maybe the team that draws millions of eyeballs actually deserves the spotlight? Imagine that. If someone like Reese desires more airtime, perhaps the path forward isn't cryptic tweets, but consistently generating the kind of on-court performance and draw that commands it, rather than just mean mugging after missed layups, as was referenced in the source material.
Some of Caitlin Clark's games have been on Prime this year. Some of them have been on NBA TV and others have been on CBS and ABC. No matter what, if Caitlin shows up, there's going to be records.
But what truly lays bare the situation is what transpires when Clark isn't in the lineup. That's when the numbers get incredibly dark. We're talking flashlight-needed levels of darkness. The very second her injury was announced, the shockwave hit the entire league. News broke that Caitlin Clark would miss at least 2 weeks with a left quad strain. Case in point, a Fever versus Mystics game was initially moved to the larger 14,000-seat CFG Bank Arena, specifically because ticket demand was booming due to Clark. But the moment she was ruled out, prices fell harder than, well, let's just say they dropped significantly. Ticket prices reportedly went from $41 to $22, nearly a 50% collapse, and even then, scalpers allegedly couldn't give them away. Commentators noted seeing fans instantly saying, "I'm taking a break," or "I'll be back later." The expectation was clear. These numbers would go down without her. Owners, feeling themselves after the Clark-fueled surge, might walk into negotiations with less leverage if this trend continued. The league is fortunate this was reportedly only a 2 to 4 week prognosis. If it had been season-ending news, people might tune out entirely.
Caitlin Clark will miss at least the next 2 weeks with a left quad strain. The Fever are currently 2-2 on the year. Clark has started all 4 games so far and is averaging 19 points, 9.3 assists, and 6 boards per game. The Fever said more updates will be provided after doctors reevaluate her.
And then came a moment that could be described as truly embarrassing. The Fever versus Sky game on June 7th, set for the massive 21,000-seat United Center. With a healthy Clark expected, tickets were selling for a reported $86. Once news hit that she'd sit out, prices plummeted to $25. That's a staggering 71% collapse. That's not merely a dip. That's the kind of dramatic drop one might associate with an Angel Reese stat line when the bright lights are on and the pressure is highest, as the original source controversially put it. One thing became instantly clear. For WNBA teams that had moved their games to larger arenas specifically because of Clark's expected presence, her injury was going to be catastrophic. It's almost darkly funny in its predictability. And yes, even Clark's own team, the Fever, weren't immune. Resale prices for their next 5 games, including 2 at home, reportedly tanked from $137 to $80 after her injury news broke. The difference? Caitlin Clark's presence or critical lack thereof.
And I'm already seeing people saying, I'm taking a break. I'm already seeing people say, I'll be back in a little bit. These numbers are going to go down. The owners are going to walk into those negotiation rooms feeling themselves. Shout out to Beyonce. I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling my... Again, they're lucky this is only a rumored 2 to 4 weeks. Because if the news was the season, people would tune out 100%.
Will this undeniable data serve as the wake-up call the WNBA desperately needs? With Caitlin Clark sidelined for at least 2 weeks, we are now going to see precisely what kind of numbers this league can generate without her carrying the load. The simple moral of this story is unavoidable. When Caitlin Clark plays, the league shines brighter than ever before. When she sits, the league scrambles. And while certain players might be focused on curating their social media highlights, Clark is just changing the game for real. While Angel Reese might be reportedly firing off cryptic tweets suggesting that these record-breaking numbers will come to her too, Clark is already shattering them, game after game. The fact that tickets could fail by 71%, dropping off the map like that, is astounding. These games move to large road buildings specifically for her, set to be broadcast on national TV. How bad is it going to look with swaths of empty seats because Caitlin Clark is injured? The ticket prices for that Fever and Sky game didn't just drop, they reportedly plummeted.
There is one thing, no doubt, that's about to happen. The WNBA teams that move their games, this is about to be catastrophic for them. And it's kind of funny.
Fans aren't just passively watching Caitlin Clark, they are actively rearranging their lives for her presence. We've seen stories of full-on, multi-thousand-dollar vacations booked solely to catch a glimpse of her magic on the court. One family reportedly spent over $3,000 on flights, hotels, tickets, and everything else for a trip, only to cancel the entire thing the moment news broke that Clark wouldn't be playing. They didn't even resell the tickets. They gave them away and rescheduled their entire expensive trip for months later, holding out hope she'd be healthy by then. Why? Because they weren't there for the team. They were there for Caitlin Clark. She is currently the only show in town with this level of draw.
Will this be the wake-up call the WNBA needs? Caitlin Clark is out for at least 2 weeks. Now, we are going to see what you guys, not just the Indiana Fever, we're going to see what type of numbers this league can churn over without her.
Clark is such an overwhelming draw that, as mentioned, ticket prices fell reportedly over 300% in under 48 hours. And the league knows this. You could almost hear the panic sirens blaring in the WNBA's marketing department the instant Clark was ruled out. Suddenly, like clockwork, they reportedly started pushing last-minute ticket ads specifically for the exact games she wasn't scheduled to play in. Odd coincidence, right? Because they weren't reportedly doing that for the Phoenix Mercury. They weren't scrambling for the Seattle Storm. They weren't begging fans to show up for Angel Reese and her alleged 6 missed layups. The WNBA is panicking because so many people are selling their tickets. People are literally disappearing from the stands when Clark isn't there.
The tickets had fell 71%. They've dropped off. I thought 71% was dropping off a map. The WNBA, these games, they're on national TV and some of these large road buildings. How bad it's going to look on TV with all of these empty seats they've moved to. That Caitlin Clark is injured. Oh, the ticket prices for the Fever and Sky game just plummeted to Hades.
The potential impact of Caitlin Clark on the WNBA's valuation is immense, with figures potentially reaching close to $1 billion this year, driven significantly by her landing massive television ratings. It's like watching a mini Wall Street collapse every time she's not in the lineup. Fans reportedly dumped tickets as if they were holding shares of Enron stock in 2001. Prices nosedive. Once packed arenas become eerie echo chambers. The same seats people were desperately fighting over days earlier suddenly cannot be given away. This level of engagement isn't just passive fandom. It's an economy. Caitlin Clark is the stock market, and when she's benched, the market crashes. It's a truly remarkable and telling situation all around when it comes to Caitlin Clark, because it makes it very clear that her impact is exponentially stronger than anyone else's right now.
WNBA is panicking because so many people are selling. People are walking away. Oh, snap. People are disappearing.
The impact of Caitlin Clark on the WNBA being very close to $1 billion this year. Caitlin Clark's landing some massive television ratings.
It's been noted that Caitlin has always been an underrated athlete, arguably the fastest player in the league with the ball in her hands. Last year, she was the best guard at finishing around the rim, taking a high volume of shots in that area. Even in the preseason, her deepest shots looked effortless, routine, something nobody else consistently does from that distance with such apparent ease. So, in the name of logic, why does the WNBA continue to allow their single biggest asset to be brutalized like she's a tackling dummy in a contact sport? They seem perfectly fine using her face to sell jerseys, pack stadiums, and secure primetime TV slots. But the second she's thrown to the floor with no foul call or hacked driving to the rim met only with silence, the league allegedly vanishes faster than Angel Reese's efficiency often does in the fourth quarter. This isn't mere negligence. It feels like cashing checks with one hand while deliberately turning your back with the other.
It is a mad situation just all around when it comes to Caitlin Clark, because it's very clear that she is way stronger.
Caitlin has always been an underrated athlete. She's the fastest player in the league to me with the ball in her hands, and she was the best guard finishing around the rim last year. She shot a bunch of it, and it's been the whole preseason where it looks to me like on her deepest shots, she is just getting them off like they're nothing, like they're routine. Because nobody else is shooting from this distance regularly, and she's doing it with a flick of the wrist.
Caitlin Clark is the needle mover. She is the franchise player. She is the main draw. Period. She wasn't the one seemingly full sprinting down the court trying to initiate contact or drama. Now, let's address the part many don't want to say out loud, but which everyone can clearly see. While Caitlin Clark is busy rewriting the record books and single-handedly propelling the WNBA into the mainstream national conversation, there's a pervasive sense that she is being low-key sabotaged, not just ignored, but actively targeted. It feels like a silent war, a battle waged in the media, constantly swirling on social media, and sadly, even manifesting on the court itself. This feels fueled by envy, insecurity, and blatant double standards, all seemingly aimed at making the one player who is undeniably keeping the lights on feel like a problem, an outsider.
Caitlin Clark is the needle mover.
She is the franchise player.
She is the main draw. She is the needle mover.
And she was the MVP.
She wasn't the one who was full sprinting down the court.
When a respected voice like Christine Brennan, a veteran journalist covering women's sports, simply questioned a seemingly violent eye poke delivered by DJ Carrington on Clark, offering no hot take, no exaggeration, just concern for a player receiving rough treatment, she was reportedly shredded for it. The online mob descended on her as if she'd committed a heinous act. Her alleged crime? Daring to defend Caitlin Clark or question her treatment. And what was the WNBA's response? Reportedly, absolutely nothing. Not even the standard "we're looking into it." They allegedly watched one of their own in the media get publicly dragged and didn't lift a finger in support. When Carrington was asked about the play, she denied intent, saying she was just trying to make a play on the ball and followed through. While intent is hard to prove, the outcome and lack of league response spoke volumes to many.
When you went and kind of swatted at Caitlin, did you intend to hit her in the eye? And if so, could you just, or if not, either way, could you talk about what happened on that play?
I don't even know why I would intend to hit anybody in the eye. That doesn't even make sense to me. But no, I didn't. I didn't know I hit her, actually. I was trying to make a play on the ball, and I guess I followed through and I hit her. So obviously it's never intentional. That's not even like the type of player that I am.
Because, let's face it, standing up for Caitlin Clark doesn't seem to fit a certain preferred storyline for some. She isn't overtly flashy in her presentation. She isn't the archetypal social media influencer constantly dropping cryptic Instagram captions after a statistically average game, unlike some players who seem to operate that way. No, Caitlin's game is widely seen as pure, precise, fundamentally sound basketball, the kind many people want their kids to watch and emulate. And perhaps this perceived purity and focus make her a perceived threat to parts of a league or fan base that may be more focused on narrative, drama, or off-court persona than on-court results and undeniable impact.
Caitlin Clark is a rising star in women's basketball. She's pulling in crazy viewership numbers. We're talking about a preseason game against the Brazil national team drawing 1.2 million views.
Caitlin Clark is clearly a rising star, generating crazy viewership numbers. Consider this. Even a preseason game against the Brazil national team reportedly drew 1.2 million viewers. Now, let's talk about security, or the apparent lack thereof for the league's biggest draw. Last year, Caitlin Clark reportedly faced a credible death threat from a stalker. Let that chilling fact sink in. And what tangible steps did the WNBA reportedly take publicly to address it? Pretty much nothing. No public statement condemning it, no announcement of enhanced protective measures beyond the standard league security, no league-wide show of support. As a result, she now reportedly travels with her own private security team. Imagine for a moment if this incredibly serious situation had happened to another player, say one of the league's more overtly celebrated or favored faces. Many believe there would have been immediate press conferences, league memos sent to teams, and viral hashtag campaigns showing unified support. But for Caitlin, reportedly crickets.
Caitlin Clark is becoming the best player, not because she's white, because she's that good. She's having Larry Bird impact. She's been the driving force of the hottest team in the entire league.
Caitlin Clark is rapidly becoming recognized as one of the best players, not because of any external factors, but purely because, as the source states, she's that good. She's having a Larry Bird-like impact on her sport's visibility. She has been the driving, undeniable force behind the hottest team in the entire league in terms of generating interest and numbers. This perceived lack of support isn't ignorance. It feels like blatant hypocrisy on full display. The WNBA often speaks loudly about fairness, equality, and increasing visibility. Yet, the single woman arguably bringing millions of new eyes and unprecedented attention to the league is the same one they allegedly consistently ignore when she is knocked down, both literally on the court and metaphorically by external factors.
So, it's been hard for me, but adjusting and just kind of have that mindset of just moving on has been something I try to give myself a little bit of grace.
Meanwhile, as the transcript notes, you have figures like Angel Reese seemingly parading around as if she's the face of the WNBA, while from the perspective presented in the source, her stat lines can look like a roller coaster stuck at the bottom of the hill, suggesting more flash than consistent finish. The source argues she talks big, posts even bigger on social media, but her play, especially under the pressure Clark consistently faces, doesn't measure up. Clark's game, according to this perspective, speaks infinitely louder without needing social media subtitles or posturing. Reese is often framed as being all about branding, Clark all about buckets, while Reese herself has spoken about adjusting to the attention and giving herself grace. The contrast drawn in the source material remains stark.
The craziest thing is for the WNBA, a game which peaked at 3.2 million viewers, to have 3.2 million viewers watch the worst refereeing performance of all time. The WNBA should at least get some full-time referees.
Then there's the officiating, particularly highlighted in that record-breaking Liberty game, with 3.2 million viewers watching. By many accounts, Caitlin was roughed up throughout the game, receiving elbows, shoves, and blatant hacks that were reportedly ignored by the officials. And then, adding insult to injury, a controversial foul call against her at a critical moment seemed to flip the momentum of the game. Fans were outraged, replays were damning, yet the league remained publicly quiet on the officiating performance. How is your most valuable, most watched player being treated like a practice player during a high-stakes game, while millions watch what many perceived as one of the worst refereeing performances of all time for the WNBA? The source material argues the league should at least invest in full-time, consistent referees for these high-profile matchups.
The league is still resentful of her. It's still jealous of her. and it's still trying to put her in her place and give her nothing, make her earn something that she already earned last year when she put this league on the national map. For the first time ever, it was really, really and truly on the national map.
And don't even begin to discuss the league's marketing whiplash concerning Clark. When she's healthy and playing, they reportedly milk every single second of her presence. She's plastered on posters, featured in promos, dominates the merchandise. But the second she's injured, poof, allegedly she disappears from the narrative and promotional materials until, that is, ticket sales suddenly crater. Then suddenly it's buy tickets now again, as if her mere ghost might show up for a layup. It's frankly embarrassing according to this perspective.
Caitlin Clark is Indiana Fever's leading scorer at over 19 points a game.
She's my role model. I really look up to her.
Why do you like Caitlin?
And she's so good at basketball.
Caitlin Clark is undeniably the offensive engine.
Because she's that awesome person and she has like a lot of aura, so like...
Cannot deny the impact that she's made on this sport.
Here is the undeniable reality, the real story. Caitlin Clark is the singular reason the WNBA hasn't flatlined. In fact, she's launched it into a new stratosphere. She is the media buzz generator, the key sweetener for television deals, the spark that has finally gotten dads, kids, and casual sports fans across the country to genuinely care about women's basketball on a massive scale. And instead of fiercely protecting this incredible movement, building around this unprecedented asset, the league, or elements within it, appear to be acting as if they are allergic to the success she brings. The pervasive sense, as articulated in the source, is that the league is still resentful of her, still jealous of her, and still trying to somehow put her in her place and make her earn something that she undeniably already earned last year when she single-handedly put this league back on the national map for the first time in a way never seen before. If the WNBA possessed any real sense of strategic direction and self-preservation, they would be doing everything in their power to build around her, promote her relentlessly, and protect her at all costs. Instead, they allegedly seem to be passively allowing players to take cheap shots, while others openly complain about airtime they haven't earned through comparable impact. The underlying jealousy, according to the source, is so thick you could cut it with one of Clark's sharp crossover dribbles. Caitlin Clark is currently the Indiana Fever's leading scorer, averaging over 19 points per game. Young fans look up to her, admiring not just her skill, but her whole demeanor. She is undeniably the offensive engine for her team and a major driver for the entire league. She has a presence, an aura that cannot be denied, and the impact she has made on this sport in mere months is unquestionable. Yet, while she is putting up points and driving wins, both on the court and in the ratings, she is simultaneously, perhaps inadvertently, exposing a system that seems perfectly willing to cash in on her name, her face, and her talent, while allegedly doing next to nothing to truly support, protect, or even acknowledge the unique challenges she faces. When she plays, records tumble. When she's gone, so are significant portions of the audience and the associated economic activity. The WNBA desperately needs to stop pretending she is replaceable. She isn't. She is right now the one holding much of this newfound momentum together with nothing but her talent, her visible grit, and a smile that often remains even after enduring what appear to be a dozen missed calls against her. So consider this. How much longer can a league ride this unprecedented wave without giving due credit and robust support to the surfer who generated it? If you are sick of the perceived hate, the undeniable bias shown by some, and the fake love from others, drop CC Record Breaker in the comments section. Make it known. Caitlin Clark carried the WNBA into the national spotlight like no one before her. Now it is absolutely time the league carries her with the respect, protection, and recognition she has undeniably earned. And as for Angel Reese, perhaps it's time to simply leave that narrative in the dust, focusing instead on the player who is demonstrably changing the game.